Hi everyone, and welcome to Two-Player Quest, where I help you on your quest to find the best two-player board games for you. In today's video, I have Oathsworn Into the Deepwood by Shadowborn Games. In Oathsworn, you play as a free company, and it's up to you and your companions to help humanity's survival against the horrors that this world brings, as well as the Deepwood itself. It has some push your luck elements and a very interesting way of dealing damage. But is this box worth your hard-earned money, and what is it like? Well, let's explore. Oathsworn is a game for 1 to 4 players that plays in 30 to 90 minutes per section. Now, the story section, I would agree. When it comes to the encounter section, that sometimes might take us a little longer, but that is because we are playing with 4 fully fledged characters. It's at a 3.69 on Board Game Geek for complexity, so it's definitely edging towards the higher complexity kind of games, and I say it is a medium luck kind of game. It does depend on how you choose to play the game, or basically how you choose to do damage, as you can do that with either dice or with cards. Now, of course, dice are going to be more inconsistent, so you can't really make your bets on it. You don't really know what's coming. But even then, if you take the cards when you sort of know what's happening, you still have the cards of the enemy that are random. So in general, I would say medium luck. This is sort of what the game can look like at the start of chapter 1, so act 1. On the left here we have the tokens, we have some of the cards, we have the map that is used for the story, we have characters, the dice, the chapter markers, the Act 1 enemy in a moment, one character here with all the character essentials, one character there, a lot of extra minions, character things, stuff like that, and a lot of the extra envelopes that you may or may not need in this act. Now, every chapter starts with a story mode. Now, the story mode is done via the app or via the book, depending on how you wish to do it. You basically walk through what the book says, you make choices, and you do those choices. When the book tells you it is time to set up the encounter, that's when you set up the encounter. That's a very quick overview of the story. When it comes to the story rules, I suggest you look into the story rulebook. I will not be giving very expansive explanations about either of the phases, the story phase and the encounter phase, as they are both very complex phases, and this otherwise would be a very long video. So I'm giving you a quick overview of the game rather than real explanation about how the game works. Here you can see the Broodmother, that is the enemy for chapter 1. You have the Broodmother's information on here, and you have the Broodmother enemy card there. Then you have the enemy cards that tell you what the enemy is going to do this round. On the enemy cards, you can also see what part of the enemy is what. So you can attack the flank, or the rears, or the core, or the head. This depends on where you're standing against the enemy. Now, our exile, this character down here, has 7 cards in their hand. 1 0, 2 1s, 2 2s, 2 3s. And these cards tell you what you can do. You do one of these actions. If you are able to, you pay the cost that is shown at the top here. So in this case, this costs 3 animus. You regain 6 animus at the start of every round with the exile. Some take more animus back, some less, it all depends. And you can have a max of 8 animus as is shown at the bottom. So to do this action, which is a weapon throw, you throw your weapon, it would cost you 3 animus. You would take 3 animus from here to there. And after you've done that, you place them at spot number 1, which is here. If you were to then again place another something at spot number 1, with this other one for example, you would place that here, and this one would move over. Now, specific battle flow rules, read them in the rulebook. They are quite specific at some parts. At the start of the round, everything that's in everybody's 0 pile, which is the bottom one here, gets returned to their hand. Now, when it comes to rolling, or basically doing damage, this is where it's an interesting mechanic. You can see here this one has a yellow block. That's because of its weapon. It has a yellow. So when you are rolling or pulling cards for your attack, You can choose as many dice as you want. So you could decide to roll for whites, as this is the colour difference. So white is lowest, then comes yellow, then comes red, then comes black. So if you have higher dice, you will do more damage. But as soon as you roll 2 blanks, in this case, you will have missed. So rolling more dice gives you a higher chance of missing. But these squiggles are critical successes. Now in this case it doesn't matter because you rolled 2 blanks, so you missed. With the might you have here, you can choose to up one of your dice to a rank. So with 1 might, or with that one, you can choose to roll a yellow dice. So instead of rolling this, you could basically decide, I want to roll 3 dice, of which 1 yellow, and then you'll have rolled this, which would have been losing, or you could roll this, which is 5. Now, this would be a successful hit. The Broodmother has 2 defenses. You can see this is 5 divided by 2 would make 2.5. It is rounded down to 2. So you would do a certain spot. In this case, he is throwing on the rear. You put this down by 2, which puts it on 4. If one of these dice were to be taken away, you would get this effect here. So the monster would attack in retaliation. Or, once everybody has done their turns, it goes to the enemy phase, in which it does the retaliation anyway. You keep going until your enemy is dead. There are special rules in case one of your characters dies. Once you have defeated this scenario, the app or the book will tell you how to continue, or if everybody dies, the app will also tell you how to continue. And this is pretty much a quick overview of the game. As I said, it is a very complex game. If you want to see actual rules and references for stuff like that, I suggest you find a different video or read the rulebook, because otherwise this video would get very long. Teaching this game to new players, I would first of all suggest you teach this game to more experienced players of board games, as it is quite complex. And for those players, it will probably take you anywhere from 15 to 20 minutes to explain this board game. Now, luckily, you can sort of get to know your character while you are playing the game. You can look at the abilities while you're sort of choosing what you're doing. So you don't have to learn about your character much beforehand. But it is definitely a complex game to teach, so I don't recommend this for beginners. If you are looking for a narrative combat game, then this could be a good fit for you. Now, the narration has a lot of influence on the game. And one of the nice things is that you can get the narration read out to you with the app. They have an app that you can use. So if you don't want to read all that narration, you can just have someone read it for you, and they have a professional actor doing it all. It's wonderful. So that is something that if you like narration games, then this could be good. Combat-wise, this is a wonderful game with a wonderful, complex mechanic of what actions you do when, and sometimes the action that's cost more energy take longer to get back, but there are also the stronger attacks. So it's a fine line of choosing what to do when. So if you're someone who likes to find that strategy in what attack am I doing when, and this round, if I take it a bit easier this round and I do this card, then I will get all of those cards back next round, so I can do a big attack at that point. So if that strategy is something you like, you might also like this game. The minis are of good quality if that's something that you are looking for, and one of the things that also can be mentioned is you can mainly sort of choose how much money you want to invest in this game. Now, we have only the standee version, but you can get minis separately, a lot of minis, very huge minis for this game if that's something that you want to do. They also have an armory, so you can swap out weapons when your character swaps out weapons. So I like that you can choose how much you want to spend on this game, rather than being forced to spend a lot on it. Having said that, even the standee version is still a reasonable price for a board game, so that is something that you need to be willing to spend if you want to get this game. I must say, it took us a while before we actually bought Oathsworn. We've seen it around at some cons over the years, and we went to UK Games Expo this year and we decided to finally sort of take a proper look at this game. Every time we'd come across it, it came across as way too expensive for what it actually was in our view. And that was mainly because all we saw were the big boxes full of big minis and all that jazz. Now, we don't really care that much about minis. We care about the game. So when we went to Games Expo, we came across the standee version, which meant that you're not spending tons of money on minis, you're just basically mainly just buying the base game. So we had a good look into the game and we decided to get it. We like the combination of the game. So you have the narrative part, which is really cool. It's really nice to have the actor basically telling it to you. It adds a lot of flavour, as it is quite a big narrative scene. It's good to have it read to you because it saves energy, basically. So I think that is a really nice touch, and considering other games technically have narration as well, but you have to pay for it, I really appreciate that this was included. We also like the encounters a lot. The combats are really interesting. I like the fact that sometimes it depends on where you attack the enemy, that some attacks are better. You can really try to make strategies. You can have the strategies when it comes to your battle flow management on your character. So in general, we like the strategies, the variety of the characters. The characters are very different. One of them has hawks, the other one basically just shoots, the other one stabs them a lot. It's very interesting to play different characters to see how the game plays as a different character. In general, I would say I think we just finished chapter 5. So we're still relatively at the beginning, but we do actually know what we're doing at this point. We are looking forward to continuing on. Now, we have been playing with 4 fully fledged characters, and we are considering scaling back to 1 fully fledged character each and then 1 companion to make it a bit quicker for us, because now we just keep switching and it sometimes takes a little longer. We're still finding what works for us, but that's fine. That's how board games work. In general, I would say this is a wonderful 2-player game. Oathsworn is always played with 4 characters, be it whole characters or companions. So no matter with how many players you play, you always have 4 characters. So scaling wise, nothing changes. It just takes into consideration the 4 characters. There is a difference, of course, when it comes to how many players, when it comes to how many differing opinions there are about how you should reach your goal. But that's pretty much the only difference in this game. And that brings us to the end of the video. Thank you so much for watching our review of Oathsworn. If you want to see another one of my reviews, you can click up here. If you have any comments, feedback or suggestions, you can put them down below. And I look forward to seeing you next time on 2 Player Quest.